Okay, this is Scott Welch, Muscle Insider Magazine. We're here live with the ingredientologist, Shawn Wells. How are you doing today, Shawn?
I'm doing great. Everything's good.
You're doing a lot of travel lately.
Yeah, I was in San Diego and Phoenix. I've been traveling around, but it's good. I'm not freaking out too much.
Hey, listen, I just wanted to talk a bit today about vegetarian diets. Obviously, a lot of our readers are people who are following a vegetarian diet. I know you formulated so many products over your career. And why are you, I mean, you're also a registered dietitian, so you obviously understand that there's always often a struggle with athletes who follow a vegetarian diet with meeting their nutritional needs. Sometimes it may not be as easy, but obviously some more thought goes into that. What is your thought on a vegetarian diet versus a traditional mixed diet?
With a vegetarian diet, you might have a harder time with, especially vegan, with B12, with choline, with protein at an optimal level. Those are some of the bigger concerns, and then maybe getting optimal omega-3s and a better form of vitamin D, and that depends on just if you're okay with having fish oils or if you're okay with having the animal source vitamin D3, but now there's even an algal source of D3. So there are options, and there are things that are improving greatly, even if you're vegan. But I think the biggest thing right now is I believe in a well-constructed diet of whole food can be extremely healthy. I am so far less concerned about someone who's vegan than someone who's on a standard American diet. Because typically someone who's vegan is taking extra steps to understand their nutrition and is concerned with that. I'm okay with carnivore as well. Like, it's just, to me, the worst part, the saddest part is just, again, that standard American diet, the Western diet, the ultra processed food heavy diet. I'm just a whole foods kind of person and respect that. And as long as you put those pieces together and look at your nutrient consumption, I think you're in a good position.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, with so many people that are looking at these sources of protein, there's obviously been a lot of supplements on the market for vegan type supplements. In fact, I've got the old
Yeah,
Vega
vegan.
one, very
Yeah.
popular, obviously, as you know. But how much, I mean, what has led to the popularity of all the vegetarian supplements on the market in terms of vegetarian proteins that you've seen?
Yeah, I think it's like, interestingly, even with people that are fairly carnivore or paleo, there's some pushback on dairy-based products, not only from the humanitarian and ecological perspective, but also, from the perspective of they can just be an allergenic trigger for certain people. Some people don't digest whey or milk-based proteins that well, and so that can be a concern. And then, with vegan, there are more vegan and vegetarian people that are jumping into the fray and want a quality protein, and they need additional protein to trigger muscle protein synthesis and get hypertrophy or better muscle recovery. So they're looking at getting plenty of nitrogen through the vegan protein sources. And then some people just, it's a clean alternative. But the problem has typically been is that they're gritty, or that, the soy-based ones are potential endocrine disruptors with the phyto estrogens that are a component of that. So, but it's been more recently that these vegan proteins are, non-soy, that are getting creamier and better tasting, that aren't as gritty, that aren't as green and kind of rough aftertaste. Like, I think of like hemp as kind of having a pretty rough aftertaste. I think of soy as having a bad aftertaste. And, some of them have been really gritty and like granular particulate that kind of like leaves that taste in the back of your throat that like you're not sure if you've already swallowed it or not. And it's just, vegan proteins have traditionally been in the past not so great. But pea protein and rice protein kind of came onto the scene at a higher concentrate level, which is a big deal. If you get up to like 90%, then it's more equivalent to whey protein isolate. Some of these proteins in the past have been 50% and then some carbohydrates and some things that you don't want. And it's already a lower biological value protein. You don't want to also get a lower concentration and have to drink more mass and, you know, like a larger serving size of something that's already gritty and gross, to be honest. So there was a long way to go when you look at whey as kind of the gold standard at being 90%, at being creamy, at being easy to consume, at mixing in well. A lot of these proteins didn't mix in well either. So, but that's that. Like I said, it started to change with pea protein and rice protein about 5 or 6 years ago, and has improved ever since. Now, pea protein doesn't have the best biological value and amino acid profile. Rice protein has a high amount of lead. So there's some concerns, especially if you add in like a cocoa flavor, which, you know, cocoa powder has a fair amount of heavy metals and lead in it as well. So like you can really get above the threshold with rice and cocoa. So we have been looking at NNB, the company I work with, at better protein solutions, and we came into pumpkin seed protein, and really that's been a game changer for us.
Yeah, I never had really considered pumpkin seed as a vegan protein source because I just haven't seen many companies use it. But when I looked closer and saw that it has a full amino acid spectrum, it obviously it has the 9 EAAs that are there. And the more and more I started to see this, I was like, wow, I never, and obviously never would have thought of pumpkin seed protein in there. I mean, you always see the standards, the soy, the hemp, the rice, you know. How has it been to work with that particular protein source? I mean, obviously we'll get into, you know, obviously other products out there, but in terms of pumpkin seed as a protein, how has that been to formulate with?
Amazing. And we actually did a lot of work on the seed proteins in particular. We were looking at watermelon seed, at sunflower seed, at pumpkin seed. The nice thing about these seed proteins is that you get rid of that green component, that kind of, it's a much creamier taste, one, and two, it's a cleaner taste. It doesn't really have that vegan aspect to it that you expect of just, you know, green with a potent aftertaste. It's a very clean taste. It's a very smooth and creamy taste. So you're heading more towards like a whey protein. And if you use one of our other ingredients, C Advantage, which is a powdered caprylic acid, MCT, which is great at raising ketone levels, then you get that creamy mouthfeel. Like they really stack really well, and it begins to approach something like a whey protein concentrate, where you get that creamy milkshake taste, which to get in a vegan product is pretty incredible.
Absolutely. And the other thing, I mean, I didn't realize this, but whey protein, a lot of people see the lecithin on the back and not realize that that's actually from soy. So if you are using whey, not that there's a problem with that, but a lot of people who maybe bodybuilders or people who don't want soy in their diet, they are getting it because of the emulsification that the soy lecithin actually adds.
Yeah, a lot of the products in the whey proteins do have a soy lecithin. You can get a non-soy one, which is not only a concern for soy as an allergen, but also the GMO aspects of soy. You can get a sunflower lecithin now that is non-GMO that can help with that creaminess and emulsification. That is non-soy and is also non-GMO. So that is an option with these proteins, even with whey protein.
With the soy, obviously, sorry, with the pumpkin seed protein, you also have things like fiber that is in, EFAs that you mentioned, and zinc and magnesium are there as well. So, I mean, but obviously we're going to get into one of the things I didn't know about was something called dregs. What
Yeah,
exactly is a dreg? I mean, for the people who don't know.
yeah, that happens in oil production, and pumpkin seed oil is really an amazing oil in terms of like what you were just talking about with like men's prostate health. We're looking at that not only with that oil, but also the zinc seems to be helpful for men's prostate and reproductive health. So there's a lot of research going into pumpkin seeds on this front. But with that oil production, you know, you're left over with these dregs, which is the protein and the fiber and the meal of that, basically everything but the oil, which you can then extract fiber or protein from. But the problem is that there is a lot of potential contamination in those dregs that can have pathogens potentially in them. And you know, it's just not the healthiest, cleanest way to get your pumpkin seed protein. We do the reverse. So we actually are extracting the protein first and foremost from clean pumpkin seeds, and then we're passing on the oil to other manufacturers. So it just, you know, it's a prioritization difference. We're putting the prioritization on the pumpkin seed protein first and foremost, and then passing on that oil versus others that are focused on the oil and then as a byproduct, as a waste product, if you will, just throwing the pumpkin seed at manufacturers.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, okay, so the competition that are selling a cheap pumpkin seed protein are actually getting it as a runoff byproduct from
Yeah.
oil factories. Like, it just really blew my mind to know that. Because a lot of times, I mean, people may buy a vegetarian protein or see it, or even a standalone pumpkin seed protein and accept that, hey, I guess this is as good as it gets. But I looked at it, I saw a video that NNB Nutrition put out, and it showed the solubility. A lot of my friends and people in the industry were just blown away by this to see how well, obviously, the TRUSEED dissolves versus a standard pumpkin seed protein. It was just day and night that they put the two together. And for our audience, I'm going to put that video up on this video. But just to see it, even with any kind of mechanical stirring or anything like that, it was just day and night to that. And that's going to obviously translate to the taste of the product. So obviously, consumers can't be shopping on price. They've got to look to make sure that their favorite supplement that has a vegetarian protein is buying premium raw materials that are going into their supplements, which will taste better, dissolve better, and obviously, as you've mentioned, with no dregs, would actually be healthier for you.
Yeah, exactly. And the dregs don't have the same vitamin levels, the same mineral levels, don't have the natural oils. And when we decided to go a different direction, we were able to not only maintain a high level of protein over 75%, but we were able to get that solubility and that creaminess, that mouthfeel that makes ours unique, that really the other pumpkin seed proteins or other seed proteins on the market don't have that, the creaminess, the vitamin mineral profile, the healthy oils that are present, the solubility, the taste profile that ours is quite superior with. And ours is also non-GMO and halal, and also sustainable. So yeah, it's an excellent product. It's again a great option for people that are looking for a dairy-free solution, like again paleo primal people, vegan people. You know, we just tend to think vegan with these proteins, but again, a lot of people are kind of on that dairy-free focus where it just causes inflammation for them, or is an allergenic trigger, can cause potentially some leaky gut, GI distress issues. So this is a clean protein, a clean option. And then other people are like adding it to potentially some, whey proteins and things like that as a blend. We've seen that as well because again, it's just so clean that it gives you so many options, and it's creamy and it gives you so many options. Like typically in the past, you wouldn't stack something like this with a whey protein, and you just have to gulp down the grit. But that's no longer the case anymore.
I looked at it. I mean, I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to this stuff. So I looked at it, and in a 25-gram serving, there's under 100 calories, and there's 19.6 grams of protein if you look at it as is the way it's weighed that way. And then carbohydrates are 3.8 grams, and fat is zero point 0.2. So it's incredibly low in fat, but even of the fats that are there, as you mentioned earlier, these are essential fatty acids
Yeah,
that are going to be good for you. And I imagine out of that carbohydrate dose of 3.8 grams, a lot of that's going to be fiber based because it's a seed. I mean, you're not going to
yep,
get high
exactly.
levels of sugars and things like that. But
Exactly.
I'm just impressed overall. I mean, with NNB Nutrition, I have just been so blown away. I kind of feel embarrassed. I was explaining to a colleague that a year ago when I had learned about NNB, actually about a year and a half ago at Supply Side, I went by your booth and checked it out. And when I read it, I read obviously about some of the MCT oil powders and the fact that it's like 95% C8, and things like that blew me away. The grains of paradise were just phenomenal with standardizing the different blends with inside the grains of paradise in terms of the actives. But I didn't do my due diligence of looking at the line because obviously you're known in the industry as the top formulator. So you would have looked out at what exactly is the best of the best of the best. But I didn't do enough of my due diligence to see how unique every single ingredient that you have. It's like you've got your fingerprint on these things to make them from berberine onward. I just think it's really innovative to see what you guys are doing.
Yeah, it's a point of pride for sure. Like with me, like I've worked with Kylan, and he has over 100 scientists on his team. We're just finishing up a 400,000 square foot facility in China that's GMP. We have these really expensive equipment that we've been buying, micro reactors and all kinds of things that are like at the forefront, the cutting edge. We work a lot on enzymatic technologies, on fermentation technologies, so not just traditional synthetic ingredient production that's kind of toxin laden. So we're looking at kind of cleaner ways to make ingredients, and more natural ways to make ingredients, and that's been fun. But like Kylan's support of me, the CEO of NNB, he's really let me kind of play and go crazy. And you've seen the ingredients that I'm passionate about. You can see kind of the through line of anti-aging, longevity, of things being anti-inflammatory, anti-glycation, antioxidant, mitochondrial health supporting. I'm really investing and putting ideas towards the future. I think people that are on the cutting edge appreciate these ingredients right now, but it's where I believe that the growth will be. We're moving away from, ingredients that enhance performance but come at a health cost.
Yeah.
And I really want longevity to equal optimization as well. So I think health performance can also go hand in hand with ingredients that enhance your your longevity as well. And I want to put more life in your years and not just, years in your life as well. And that comes with this kind of exploration of like, typically ingredients are viewed as anti-aging or bodybuilding. And I really want to have those two worlds come together. That's been my goal, is to have ingredients that really enhance health, but also promote performance.
Absolutely. No, I really, really appreciate what you do for the industry in that direction of bridging those two. But using science, and you being a registered dietitian, it's not like a lot of the bro science you sort of see in the industry, that you're there and obviously working with NNB on that side, on the chemical engineering side of it, you can actually bring these ideas to life out of your mind. Probably a few months ago, I saw Price Plow do a video about, inventing your own ingredients, in terms of discovering that some of the formulators that are out there have ideas, but they may not have the science, the connections on the manufacturing side to do that. But NNB Nutrition is obviously in the game for that, to do that and to make athletes and regular people have access to the best of the best. I mean, and I think that's just really cool to see. It's exciting.
Yeah, that's something we've been working on more recently, is kind of this incubator. We have a team called Ingenious Ingredients. that's made up of me, Kylin, and two scientists, Dr. Ralph Yeager and Dr. Martin Purpura, who are very well known in the industry for working on ingredients like HMB free acid, like alpha size, alpha GPC. Like these guys have done hundreds of studies in sports nutrition, and we're all working together on intellectual property on unique ingredients, and that's been fun. And then we also do have a component, like you mentioned, with NNB called ingredientology, where we work with formulators in the industry. Anyone who has ideas, if they want to, bring them to market and have a share of intellectual property, we'll work with them, because we have the attorneys in the space, we have the scientists, again, like more than 100 scientists, we have the equipment, and we can do the scaling and feasibility work, the bioavailability work. We can really make anything come to life, and it's pretty exciting. And that's like, there's so many of my ingredients that, prior to Kylin, I was holding on for 10 years to, and then now, like, practically anything I dream up, he can make, and we can make feasible. And it's pretty exciting to as a like, I've really kind of moved away from just standard formulation, and now I'm just focusing on novel ingredient creation, which has been amazingly fun.
That's incredible. Awesome. Well, listen, thank you very much, Shawn Wells, expert's expert when it comes to formulations, NNB Nutrition, top industry performer in terms of innovative ingredients. And where can fans go to follow more of your work?
I'm at Ingredientologist here on Instagram. That's the scientist of ingredients, Ingredientologist. And then they can also find me on my website, ShawnWells.com, ShawnWells, ShawnWells.com. And I have tons of free guides there. All of it's free, like stuff on keto, on fasting, on anti-aging, on immune health, ingredients like zinc, like vitamin C, D3, mushrooms, all kinds of stuff I get into on there. And it's all cited and great material, and it's free.
And you're not just the keto expert, although you're known in the industry as the keto expert. You obviously have an assortment of different areas that you are expert in. I've really been interested in the glucose disposal and managing, obviously, insulin and things. Some of the stuff you've done on that has just been awesome. So thank you
that's
very much.
probably my most favorite ingredient in the world is, just to plug that, is dihydroberberine. I've always been a metformin fan for anti-aging and glucose disposal. There was a recent study that showed people lived about 2 years longer on it, and that's not even diabetics. I'm just talking about people, just normal people. There's no ingredient that's ever been shown to do something like that, even close. So, and berberine actually outperformed metformin in a head-to-head study. And then dihydroberberine, the ingredient that we patented and we sell, Glucovantage is the brand name, that is about 5 times more bioavailable than standard berberine, and doesn't have the GI distress associated with it, because your body actually converts berberine to dihydroberberine at the gut level. So I'm super excited about dihydroberberine and anti-aging and just living longer and living better. I think every single person should be on it. It's easily in my top 5, if not my top 1. I think vitamin D3 would be up there as well. But it's an exciting ingredient, and I would jump on that.
Yeah, so the berberine goes into your body, and your gut converts that to the dihydroberberine. So you've actually cut the middleman out by actually selling the thing your body converts it to. It's just that's innovation.
Yeah, and it actually converts back to berberine at the plasma. So, and we have a study coming out where we're going to show head-to-head orally consuming berberine versus dihydroberberine, and prove out how much better it is at the plasma level at raising berberine levels.
That's cool. Awesome. That's great. Well, listen, thanks again, Shawn Wells. People, check him out, and really appreciate you for your time.
All right. Thanks, brother.